Hi, this is the second part of my three-part conversation with Tina Ebanks of Studio 216. Last week, we discussed more of the aesthetic and where to start, and does it really matter if your save the date matches your wedding invitation? In this week's installment of my discussion with Tina Ebanks of Studio 216, we talk more about the timeline, the components for your wedding suite, and how she works with clients who are long distance. Hi, I'm Michelle Mays, your Chief Concierge for Luxury Wedding Planning in New York and owner of Renee Michelle Events. I created this channel to help brides and grooms navigate their wedding planning process stress-free. If this is your first time visiting my channel and watching one of my videos, be sure to click subscribe and the notification bell so you'll always know when new videos are posted. So as I mentioned, this is the second part of my three-part discussion with Tina Ebanks of Studio 216. Keep watching so that you'll learn more about your timeline, the components of your wedding invitation, and working long distance. Then we have the save the dates, and we know the save the dates are sent out months or even a year before the wedding is even about to take place. So how do they, or how would you suggest the bride and groom look at the save the date? Should it be yet a preview to the wedding invitation or something that stands alone?
So the save the date only has to match the invitations in terms of aesthetic and vibe, but not necessarily in terms of a mini replica of the invitation suite, right? So while we want to have the save the date carry through the look and feel of the invitation suite, it should also give a nod, a bit of a hint, if you will, as to what to expect with the invitation suite. Sometimes the save the date is quite extravagant in design and artwork details, whilst the invitations may be a bit simpler in design, but showcase a more extravagant print detail, such as painted edges or blind embossing, etc., to really elevate the invitation suite.
Wow, I've personally, this is a wedding planner being honest, I've often been in flux about the save the date and how it should be a component of. So I like that. It's, can give a glimpse or a hint, but it ultimately, if I'm saying this correctly, it stands alone.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. I pride myself actually in doing designs that are well coordinated, but not necessarily matching in terms of everything having flowers in the four corners or something like that. But, everything being a nice cohesive whole, and you can see them as a whole, but necessarily not necessarily matching per se.
So now, what about the components of a wedding invitation suite? There are so many pieces. There are so many options. What are the most important components of a wedding invitation suite?
Okay, so the bare minimum, of course, is the wedding invitation itself, and that would be accompanied by an RSVP card, all neatly tucked away in an envelope. So, however, most couples tend to need additional information. So a reception card is necessary if the locale is different than that of the ceremony. If it's a destination wedding, then an additional wedding details card with flight information, hotel and transportation information is necessary piece, because guests are investing time and money to celebrate that day with the couple. And so it's respectful that they should be guided and fully informed accordingly. This also negates the need for the couple to repeatedly answer questions that guests may have. Another piece that a couple often chooses to include is a card informing their guests about gifts, whether it's if they have a specific gift registry or if that gifts aren't necessary and the couple would prefer donations to be perhaps given to a charity in lieu of gifts. Those are pieces that are typically found in a formal wedding invitation suite.
Yes. I like the pieces and the elements. I am a traditionalist, modern, fancy person,
Yeah.
woman. So I like all the layers, the tissue paper and the vellum and all of that. But
Yes.
practically, if you're not that type of couple, then you shouldn't feel that you have to do that. And I don't think in our day and age today that any bride and groom feels the need to have more than is truly who they represent.
Yes, absolutely. As long as their guests are in the know, and they have conveyed all the information that they need for the wedding, then, it's completely up to them, the pieces that they choose for the suite.
Awesome. So my next question for you is timeline. So let's say we have a couple getting married April 2022. What is the timeline, or when should they start the process of searching, selecting, and moving forward with their invitations?
Well, the ideal timeline for wedding stationery is a year out. So planning stationery for April 2022 would ideally start now, April 2021. This may seem like a lot of time, but it allows for getting everything you want, like how you want it within the time that you need it. So an example of this is that many couples wish to have custom monogram, which in itself can take 10 to 15 business days, depending on the intricacy of the design. So if a couple now is a few weeks or even months behind, that's okay. But they'll have to get started right away. Starting early also removes any stress and anxiety that the invitations will not reach their guests in a timely manner. And then there are also those other pieces for the wedding to consider, such as menus, seating charts, welcome signs, bar or specialty cocktail signs, napkins, wedding timelines, and so many other pieces. Then there are also the stationery for other wedding events, such as the invitations for rehearsal or bachelorette party. So there's so many other items to consider once the invitation suite itself has gone out. But couples hearing this should not get overwhelmed now. The majority of this work falls on the stationer and the planner. Only the couple's stamp of approval is being required, actually. So
that's good. Yeah, because as you sit here and you putting myself in the bride's shoes, I hear you saying this, and I'm like, oh my God, it's April 2021, and it is this date, and I'm getting married on the 19th, and what do I do? But communication, bottom line, is the key. Communicate with your wedding planner or whomever is helping you with your wedding, and make sure you're communicating accurately with the stationer so that everything can move forward. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
What is the shortest timeline you've had to deal with when creating a full wedding invitation suite?
So there was a recent wedding for which I was the designer of all the stationery, for a custom monogram, engraved menus, vow booklets, to acrylic signs and chairs, like place cards and custom-made marble coasters. It was a micro wedding, but the level of detail was really high, and we had only 2 months to pull this stuff off. But every detail was taken care of, and it came together beautifully. So the couple were thrilled, and we were even featured on the luxury wedding blog, Grace Ormond Wedding Style. So
awesome.
Came together very well. Yeah.
Congratulations on the Grace Ormond mention. That is so awesome. So awesome. I've recently had someone contact me and ask me, there's a wedding that is scheduled beginning of May. And they're like, well, just as from a planner point of view, I said, look, anything is possible. Yeah. How organized are you? And how organized you are is what makes it move a lot quicker and easier. You can plan a wedding in 3 months, but are you organized? Because if you're not organized, you're going to feel like it's impossible.
Exactly. Yeah, so true. And, that's, again, having a good planner on your side. It's just, it's nothing short of a miracle what they can do, really.
Yeah. And, that and finding good vendors and suppliers that will meet your needs is key. How do you work with your clients who are long distance? I mean, again, I'm going to plug the beautiful island of Grand Cayman, but I know you work with clients around the world. So, how do you work with these clients and ensuring that things are on track and moving effortlessly?
Sure. Well, other than the requirement to work via online meetings, of course, such as Zoom, our long distance clients are treated to the same process as our in-person clients. Even I even work with local clients who have been happy to work with me remotely. So I remember a particular instance when I was on maternity leave, and a client requested that I handle their wedding stationery. So there wasn't Zoom back then, no Zoom calls. So we worked solely by email. Just a few weeks ago, my daughter and I had a play date, and we ended up meeting some friends. So I was chatting with a mutual friend by the pool, and she introduced herself and introduced her husband, and immediately I recognized their names. And I told him, I'm like, I'm the one who did your wedding invitations. We finally met through a mutual friend after 7 years. They were still raving about their invitations and their experience of working with me. So long distance clients, can be rest assured that they will receive the same level of service and commitment that my in-person clients receive, and for which I'm known.
That's awesome. So, as you have completed watching and learned more about planning out your invitation search and design process, and what are the important elements for a wedding invitation suite, and working with your designer long distance, if you have any questions, if there's anything missing from all of that wealth of information that was just shared in this video, comment below. Remember, click subscribe and a notification bell so you'll know when the third part of this 3-part discussion is posted. Share this video with other brides and grooms, and comment below if you have any questions at all. And click the frame popping up now so that you can watch last week's discussion regarding your wedding invitation suite.